Let's get into this conversation now. MEC Lebogang Maile says the ongoing tension between some community members in the province and foreign nationals who own spaza shops will harm the economy. The community members are demanding that spaza shops owned by foreign nationals should be closed. Some shops have also been looted following suspected food poisoning incidents in Soweto. Joining me now is the MEC himself, Lebogang Maile, who held a briefing earlier today. MEC, good evening to you and thank you for your time. Let's begin with the content of your media briefing today, and perhaps to best summarize it, you are saying that the monopolization of the township economy by foreign enterprises through spaza shops needs to be urgently addressed. What will that mean in practice when you say this needs to be addressed?
Good evening, Tony, to you and the viewers at home. Let me start by conveying our condolences as the provincial government to all the victims who lost their lives, either through indulging poisonous substances or food, and those who have been killed between when there was confrontation between the locals and the foreign owned spaza shop owners. That's the first. The second thing, I want to confirm that indeed we have raised concern about this monopolization. But the next issue is that the monopolization is not only by the foreign-owned spaza shops, it's also by big corporates who have come into the township through the shopping centers and the malls. And unfortunately, the products that they sell are not produced in the townships. There's a study that says only 2% of the products consumed in the townships are being produced there. And therefore, you have asked the question, what has to be done? And one of the things that has to be done is to bolster the productive capacity of the township economy so that more and more products that have been consumed, those products are produced in the townships, and they must not be circulated only in the township, but they must also be circulated into the mainstream economy. Yeah. But second, okay, you wanted to chip in, it's fine.
So I want to stick with what you have just said, that the township economy needs to be bolstered somehow, and that's what you are saying you mean when you say this needs to be urgently addressed. I want to remind you, MEC, that in your previous capacity as MEC of Economic Development, this was in September of 2018, you called on these foreign owners or the foreign nationals who own spaza shops, and I want to quote you directly. We want to revitalize the township economy. We need you to share the secrets to your success so that our people can also enjoy prosperity. These were your words back in 2018. I'm just painting this so that the viewers are aware that you are not interacting with this for the first time. So today, as we sit, would you still make that call that foreign nationals share the secrets to their success with the locals so that they are also able to participate meaningfully in this township economy?
Yeah, because we want the locals to have a greater share in the township economy, and not just them. As I've said, that you also have big corporates who are unfortunately not sharing with the locals. They are disempowering them. And we want the locals to have the skills, to have the knowledge, to also be helped with research and development, but most importantly, to have access to funding so that they can own these shops. We want to make sure that the owners of these shops, because in most cases, the owners, the landlords, are South Africans, and the landlords are the ones who give leases to these foreign nationals. There are legal foreign nationals only. They are illegal, and those and this matter, it's a bit complex. I explained earlier on in the press conference.
Yeah.
Because we were asked a question, why don't you outlaw the ownership by foreign nationals? And I said, there is a law already. If you look at the Immigration Act, which says that if you are a foreign national, you are allowed to own a business in South Africa under certain circumstances. And one of those is that if you are investing at least 5 million.
Yeah.
Are these foreign national spaza shops investing 5 million? I certainly don't think so. So it means there's a gap in the implementation of the law that is already there. But there is also a complication that those who are asylum seekers, as you know, we are part to international conventions, are allowed to participate in economic activities. And that's why our approach is that let us empower the locals, let us skill them, let's resource them, and already a lot of them have properties that they own. And that's why I will be calling an imbizo of all locals who are owning property, commercial property, spaza shops, bottle stores, butchers, and who are owning them, to have a conversation with them.
All right.
Because we sit in our offices as government and decide how the locals must participate in their own economy and how they must run their businesses. They must guide us, and we must create a conducive environment. We must provide the skills. We must help with the market. We must help with funding. We are prepared to play our part as the provincial government.
MEC, there are two issues there, because if, as we sit now in 2024, you are saying that you would repeat that call to foreign nationals who own spaza shops to share their skills or knowledge of how to run these with locals. Number one, the locals are going to say to you, but these are the very people that are allegedly selling expired goods to the community, which is why they are up in arms. But second of all, MEC, the ownership of these spaza shops, as you correctly put it, it may not necessarily be in the hands of the very people that run them, because they lease these from people who own property. And as you say, some of them are illegal. Your call tonight, it doesn't quite make sense, does it? To the very same community that wants the foreign nationals to be shipped out.
Government position is clear. Illegal immigrants must leave the country. So there's no ambiguity. If you are illegal, you must leave the country. That's one. But two, I don't think we should be allergic to knowledge. And knowledge must not have a nationality of a person. If people are saying, we've got knowledge, we want to share with you, why would we say no? But thirdly, the locals are owning, their property owners, the title deeds are in their names. So these are their properties. And we want them to optimize these properties. And we are not saying, asking for help from those who can help because they are legal, but also because they are skilled and knowledgeable. And they also understand that as government, we must put the economic interests of our people first. We are not saying we are dependent on that. And that's why I'm saying to you, our strategy is to ensure that those who own these properties, we help them with the skills, with the resources, and everything else that they need to be able to reclaim and dominate these spaces. And I don't know where are you getting at, Colin. I know you like being controversial. You've got BMW in South Africa. It's not South African. There at Roslyn, you've got Toyota, you've got all that. You've never questioned their ownership anyway. And they're in the country. And they are trading. And no one is raising an issue about them. And I'm not saying you should. So I'm just saying to you, simply because you enjoy driving a BMW, you are not asking uncomfortable questions to BMW, and you are not asking them to transform and empower people, which we are already asking them, if you ask me. We are not just asking the small guys, we are even asking the big guys. And when we say the big guys, we also mean the multinationals, that they must help us with the skills, with the knowledge, and including funding.
All right. MEC, you dealt earlier as well with the scourge of alleged food poisoning, and this is the reason why locals are up in arms. I think it was about a week ago, we spoke to Peter Manganye. He's the Director for Environmental Health in the city of Johannesburg. I'd like for you to just listen for a moment to how he addressed a question related to previous deaths in the same area of Naledi. The current situation there now is that there are 5 children who've sadly lost their lives after eating what is assumed to have been purchased from foreign-owned spaza shops. But this is a previous case of 2 children who passed away, and these were the results. This is what he was communicating at the time. I'd like for us to listen to Mr. Manganye for a moment before we continue.
Last year, when these deaths were reported in Naledi and Tladi, that affected children not far from where the current deaths have occurred.
Yes.
The South African Police Services conducted the post-mortem on the bodies, and then they established that or confirmed that the kids died as a result of organophosphate poisoning. We then took samples of the product that was allegedly the source of the death, which were biscuits at that point in time, to the forensic laboratory for analysis in Pretoria, chemical analysis in Pretoria. The results came back negative for organophosphate or any other chemical contamination of the food product. With this, recent incident, we have taken samples yesterday to the forensic laboratory of whatever we could find as traces of, the same product that allegedly caused the death of the 5 children in Naledi as we are speaking. The results should be out in the next week or so, and then we would then be able to say, are the deaths linked to the Simba chips that were eaten, or what could be the possible source of contamination that has led to the deaths of the 5 children.
MEC, that's the official from Johannesburg, the health environment there. And quite clearly, he says that this organophosphate poisoning that was found on the results of the postmortems could not be directly linked to the spaza shops where the children were alleged to have bought these. I'm going back to this point deliberately to ask you the question, what is your responsibility as provincial government when such violence erupts around foreign-owned spaza shops? What becomes your responsibility as soon as results come back, regardless of whether or not the media is still paying attention to the story or not? What is your responsibility as a government?
We have a responsibility to consistently monitor that these spaza shops adheres to the laws of the Republic, and that secondly, the products that are on the shelf are products that are healthy for consumption by the public, and that's why through our consumer affairs and through the different municipal health departments and our own health department, working with the police, there's constant monitoring and raids in these spaza shops. And I'm glad that you've raised an issue about the media saying, even if the media does not report, because there are a lot of cases. I actually said in the press conference, there's been about 207 incidences in Gauteng alone related to poisoning. Fortunately, some of the people did not die. And the issue should not be made a PR matter. It's a serious issue that has to do with the laws of the country, that has to do with the preservation of the lives of the people, that has to do with making sure that we fight illicit trading from different angles. Are involved because I've been made aware of a concept called salvaged goods, and these are goods which are called which are not ready for, or rather are on the verge of expiring, and the big manufacturing food companies sell these goods. And I've asked our team that we must look at whether this is regulated or not. Because if these so-called salvaged goods are sold back to the people, who is consuming them? Who is buying them? So the problem is bigger. And we have to look at it comprehensively and not be short-sighted and wait for a crisis to happen and we use this as a PR exercise. It is actually bad, and it is immoral to use it as a PR exercise. It has to be tackled whether the media is watching or not. Not because we want to be seen to be doing something, but because it's the right thing to do. It's our moral obligation and responsibility to act consistently all the time.
All right, MEC, we have raised the issue initially that this is not the first time you are raising the question around the township economy and more specifically the ownership of spaza shops. Would you admit, though, that 5 years on, since your statements in 2018, there has really not been much that's been done to transfer, whether it be the skill or indeed the successes of foreign owners in transferring that knowledge to people in the townships? Let's just deal with that quickly first.
There's a lot that has been done, and perhaps it's not enough, and hence you still have a problem. That's why today I spoke of the investment that the IDC is making to promote industrial development in the townships to the value of $1 billion. There's a lot that has been done because there are a lot of SMMEs that are township-based which have been funded through our Gauteng Enterprise Propeller.
Let me see.
Some of them...
Allow me to interrupt you. I'm sorry, because of time. Allow me to interrupt you. Your statement does not correlate because today you're complaining about the monopolization of the township economy through spaza shops that are owned by foreign nationals. But at the same time, you are now saying that there's a lot that's been done. The two statements don't go together.
No. Really, it's either you lack comprehension or you just want me to pursue a certain narrative. I'm telling to you, now I'm saying to you, a lot has been done, and I'm stating what is it that has been done. And perhaps because the problem is big, whatever that has been done is not enough. So to try and suggest, which is what you want me to say, that nothing is happening, it's wrong factually and fundamentally. And you're stopping me when I'm giving you facts. I don't know why are you allergic to facts. So I'm saying to you, a lot is being done. And indeed, a lot is being done, and more will still be done.
But the proliferation of spaza shops has not stopped, and they are not owned by South Africans.
Yes, that's why I provided figures. And I even said at some point more than 50%. And I even made an example about some place, Cape Town, which is owned 70%. We are alive to that. We are not in denial. We are not going to deny that there is a problem. I mean, why must we deny what is before our eyes unless we are not honest? So the fact that the problem persists doesn't mean we have not done anything.
Okay. All right. Final question, MEC. You have listened to the official, the health environmental official from the city of Johannesburg, and they have made it clear that whatever the children had consumed could not be traced back to the spaza shops. And I take your point that this is perhaps very complicated when it comes to this question of food poisoning. What is your message to groupings that are up in arms, and rightly so, because a death of a child is something that cannot be swept under the carpet? You can't minimize the death of a human being. But at the same time, what messaging needs to go out to say you can't resort to attacking these spaza shops, because previous examples have shown that whatever poison has been consumed resulting in deaths, sometimes, in fact, I have yet to hear an official saying it could be directly linked to a spaza shop, because these are the spaza shops that come under attack. So what is the message there to the community?
There's been 207 incidences in Gauteng, and you are stating only one. So we can't then, on the basis of one, come to a conclusion. And having said that, we will like to call on the communities not to take the law into their hands. They must actually give the law enforcement agencies, working with the relevant and competent health authorities, to investigate, and where wrongdoing has been found, the law must take its course. And where there are illegal trading activities taking place, the law must also take its course. And where there are gaps in the law has to be strengthened and amended, because it's clear there are gaps in the law. And that's why tomorrow I'll be in Sharpeville and I'll be in Naledi. On Tuesday, I'll be in Bronkhorstspruit to talk to business owners, so that they are able to advise us on which areas we need to strengthen. Because one of the things that we are going to do is to invoke our powers as a provincial government through the Department of Culture to develop a province-wide bylaw on spaza shops, and we have to be clear which areas are we regulating.
Finance MEC in Gauteng, Lebogang Maile, thank you very much for your time tonight.